They probably became aware of my abusive relationship through my Facebook. Through Facebook and through me telling friends. I constantly went to Facebook and I would rant on Facebook and I would say everything on Facebook and I would expose her on Facebook and I would use Facebook as a comfort zone because I would use Facebook to go there and update my status on what I'm feeling, my emotions, what's going through my relationship, and then persons would comment and also try to speak to me and try to help me. Some persons would help, some persons would obviously say bad things. But I always gravitated to the persons who were helping me and who were speaking to me and telling me that this is not good for me, I need to get out and I need to seek help. My experiences with the public based on my Facebook reactions were not always so negative. There were some persons who I would meet in public and who would talk to me and tell me, oh, Jessica, I saw this on Facebook, and and some persons sometimes would tell me I should not be going on Facebook and writing those things. I should probably go and seek help elsewhere, go to seek counseling, try to work things out with my partner. But at the time, I didn't have that much support, so I figured Facebook was more like my main support. And other times, I would be walking in town and persons would call me names. I remember when I was singing calypso, when I was singing soca music, I would go on stage and persons would say all sorts of things. I remember there was a time I got into a big fight at a launch of a carnival event. And this fight was very big. It was on the news. I became even more popular. And because of that fight, I remember the tent leader of my tent at the time, he did not even want me to perform on stage. And I had to beg him to perform on stage, even making it to Soca Monarch that year. When I was going onto the stage, I remember persons were saying, Zamiez, calling me all sorts of names. And I looked at those persons, and you know what? I just smiled, because at the end of the day, y'all are just these persons that were just giving me more power to go out there and do my thing. I didn't bother. I just couldn't be bothered with them. These persons who made me feel like I was nothing and belittled me, and because I was in a same-sex relationship that I was not supposed to be in, and it was so much of a big issue, I never used that to deter me from achieving what I wanted to do. I don't think there's any difference between a heterosexual relationship and a homosexual relationship in terms of gender-based violence, because basically you're in a relationship and you're being abused. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with a man and a woman, or woman and a woman, or man and a man. Abuse happens anyway, anyhow. It's up to the individual to gain that strength to get out of that relationship, okay? Persons sometimes believe that they cannot get out of this relationship because they don't have the strength and the person has a hold on them. And sometimes I also think that it's because the person don't love themselves enough and the self-esteem is very low, the confidence is very low. Because sometimes, even for me, I used to think that if being in that relationship, that if she doesn't hit me, she doesn't beat me, she doesn't love me. So for her to beat me is that I would feel love. And even after I got out of that relationship, I dated someone else. And then I used to ask her, why don't you beat me? And she would ask me why, and I would tell her, because if you don't beat me, that's because probably I would think that you don't love me. It took me years to develop a sense of knowing that being in a very toxic, abusive relationship is wrong. And with the right help, the right supports, you can get out of it. And sometimes persons always think that if the person doesn't hit you, the person doesn't beat you, that person doesn't love you. Even for me, I used to think that. And I think that is because when you have a very low self-esteem and you don't love yourself enough, you think that way. So sometimes when you get the right support and the right help, you will gain the strength to walk out of this relationship. I don't think it's right for any relationship to be abusive, whether it's homosexual relationship or heterosexual relationship. Once there is true love in this relationship, abuse will not be in there. It took me years to understand this, because sometimes like I said earlier on, a lot of persons, their self-esteem and their self-worth is really low. Now, if they're in a relationship and the partner doesn't hit them or doesn't beat them, they feel as if that partner doesn't love them. And I experienced that too, so I know what it is. But sometimes, if the right support and the right persons around you, you can get the strength to walk out of this relationship. It took me years. I knew that it was wrong, but I felt like I was so in love and I was And I couldn't see past that. I couldn't see beyond that. And even if I was losing so much, I still saw her as the only thing in my life that I ever needed. For me, it was a journey. It took me years to break out of that relationship, to get out and to get totally out. Because sometimes you think that you're out, but you're not out. You tend to go back seeking that same love that you thought was true. And for me, I had to probably get out of St. Lucia and see that the problem was not me, but it was her. The problem was not me, it was her. And getting out of St. Lucia made me realize a lot. And then and a lot happened between me and her while I was out of St. Lucia. When I came back to St. Lucia, this is when I did a lot of self-searching, soul-searching, and that's when I decided to make that change. And then when I realized that I was losing one of my best friends through that relationship, because she got to a point where she was so frustrated with me because she felt like my life was going down the drain and I was not doing anything to get my life back on track. And then when I felt that I was losing her, I said to myself, no, Jessica, you need to do something about that. So I decided to get the support, seek counseling, speak to friends, and that friend, she decided to come back and support me and show me the way out. And then that's when I decided, you know what, that this is it for me, that I cannot go back into it. And it took me, and even after I made the decision and I called her up and I said, I am out. I'm out and I'm not. She did not believe me because she thought that she had this hold on me so much. And yes, and even after I told her that I'm out, I was still loving her. I was very much in love with her, but I had to do this for myself. And then doing this for myself, I gained more self-love. My self-esteem got stronger, grew, and my self-confidence grew, and I felt that I became more empowered. I found my self-empowerment. I found that, yes, I can do it. And with the support of my friends, my family, especially my sister, she was very much a part of this. And my co-workers also, because it affected my job. So when they started seeing the changes that I decided to make, they were very supportive because they knew this was not something that I needed in my life, especially if I wanted to grow and achieve stuff in my life. This is something that I had to get rid of. My experiences at work has been sort of a mixed experience. I have had both good and bad. The good outweighs the bad, but the bad has been very bad. Recently, I experienced some sort of discrimination from one of my colleagues. It was a social media attack, and I was very much surprised that coming to work, and this person who attacked me via social media had been attacking me for a while at work, and he has been spoken to. He's been called upon, spoken to about it, but he continued to harass me. And even when they spoke to him, he still said that he will continue because he doesn't agree with my lifestyle, he doesn't like it, and then he will continue to tell me all what he has to tell me, and he doesn't care. I felt very violated, and I felt that the organization could have done more, but they didn't. But I still appreciated the fact that they spoke to him about it, and they're aware of the situation. That colleague of mine attacked me verbally via social media, and he used a lot of obscene language. He called me names, and he basically did not care. He just said how he felt about me and about my sexual orientation, and other persons were actually defensive, who were actually defending me, and he even attacked those other persons. And basically because he believes that same-sex relationship is wrong, that he did not care, and he continued cursing me out, and he did not. And what really got to me is that he did not even care that, okay, we work together. You can actually be fired. You can actually be suspended. And he even made it known that he doesn't care what the organization does. This is him. This is what he believes, and he will always stand for it. And he will come to work the next day, and he will still tell it to me. And that is when I thought to myself, wow, I'm actually working in an environment with this person. I don't feel safe. And this is why I had to take it up to the organization. I had to tell him that some persons thought that I should not have done it. I should have not put it out there on social media. I should have gone to speak to him. But the fact is, I did speak to him in the past. We have had this conversation, not only me. Management has spoken to him, and he continued. So when I saw that, coming to work, and I know that we work in the same building, not even in the same building, in the same office, being an advocate, being an activist, I would not feel safe. So this is why I took the action. And this is something I believe anyone who is being offended in that way should take action for. My involvement in advocacy has shaped me into a wonderful, more positive person. I have grown a lot, I must say, coming from where I came from, coming from my relationships in the past, being a very depressive person, having all those suicidal thoughts. And my life was, there was a point in my life when I thought that my life was, I was really going to end my life. And the day I decided to take up advocacy, I think I made the right decision. And this is where my passion lies, and it has shaped me into a more positive, career-oriented person. I know what I want to do, I know where I want to go. I have a passion for it, and I see it, I breathe it, I live it. Some persons may not agree with it, but this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I believe in, and I believe in a cause, and I will always fight for it. I want to see myself as a leader, and not just a leader. I want to see myself as a leader who can motivate others, because it's not only me who is there to do the job. I believe as a community we can be empowered, and I can lead other persons and motivate and inspire them to rally behind me and to work towards equality for the LGBT community, not only in St. Lucia, it could be internationally, regionally, and also hopefully one day I hope to enter the field of politics and represent the, because I don't think there's any there. I don't think no, there hasn't been anyone who in the political arena in St. Lucia who has been an open LGBT person. And I believe probably if I go into this field, I'll be the first one, and I would want to do that to represent the LGBT community in St. Lucia. So maybe in the next 10 years, I would hopefully want to go into politics and also be a progressive leader in the LGBT community. The reason why I decided to share my past experiences of my abusive relationship with my current partner is because I believe that it was important to do so. I wanted her to know that the experiences that I went through, that I didn't want it to happen again, and how I felt, and the things that it did to me, and the person I became out of that experience. And I wanted her to know that even if she's not that type of person, she's not an abusive partner, but I didn't want things to, if we had arguments, to escalate and to get so out of the way that sometimes she would have, maybe we might end up getting into a fight or something. And I wanted her to know that experience, I did not want to go back into that experience, and then we can work out our issues without having to get into a fight and so forth.
I do not agree with violence in any form, whether it be verbal, emotional, sexual. I do not agree with that. And I believe that everybody should be treated with respect. And when she told me about her experiences, it disappointed me, because I know it is something I would not do to her. So, in all fairness, I thought that she didn't deserve that. And I think that when issues arises, that we should be able to settle that without getting insultive, without getting physical.
Yeah. So how do we deal with our situations when arguments arise? I think basically what we do, we would, well, for me, I tend to, I can be a bit troublesome.
Of course.
Yeah, I can be a bit troublesome. So, but with Kim, on the other hand, she's very more calm. She's calm. She's calm, and she would.
I won't say calm. I know that I have a little short temper, so I try to distance myself before I say anything that may seem to be disrespectful to her.
Yeah. So she would distance herself, and probably I would be like the one to talk and talk and talk, and try to make things work. And
we both
we both make things work, but then I would probably be the one to talk more, and Kim would more distance herself until when she's ready and when she's calm, she would come back and we would talk and we would settle stuff.
So, St. Lucia, what's your position?